I don't see it. That didn't catch up.
We have to care about agents. Screaming at a drag show, so. Right, I'm like, okay.
The pizza boxes.
Right.
So we.
All right. Welcome back on the mic. I'm here with Markus Brown. Markus, you've been here how long now?
Been here since February, so about 5 months now.
Okay, yeah, because I always keep seeing your name popping into the chat of executed contracts.
Working hard.
So it seems like you've been here a lot longer than you have, but it wasn't always like that. You kind of had like a little bit of a slow start, and then you kind of hit your stride.
Yeah, it was like a light bulb went off.
Yeah.
You know, really surrounded myself with a lot of people who were executing a lot.
Yeah, you sit around a good clique.
Yeah,
you sit around a really good clique.
Yeah, I got Jamie over there. I've got Bradley, who's a beast.
Yeah, well, he's like in his own world. I think he's just kind of like doing his own thing. But we'll obviously unpack all that. But let's get into just you, where you're from, grew up, how you kind of got here. So originally from
Las Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah, Las Vegas, Nevada, the hot desert out there. Life was cool growing up. You know? It's not what everybody thinks being in Vegas. You're not always around the
strip. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's how I picture it.
Exactly. Really.
Markus walking around the strip.
Yeah. You got people out there that, that are into that life. But for me, I mean, it was a regular life. We played football. We had, you could see the city from afar, but, you really weren't up on it like that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So what? So then your family relocated. Were you in the military? How did that
relocated to Virginia?
Okay.
My father was Air Force.
Gotcha.
For 30 years. So we relocated to Virginia. That's actually where I finished out school at. And a complete shift in culture.
Yeah.
Vegas to Virginia for sure. So.
When at what age was that? When did the move happen?
I think it was 16.
Okay. Oh wow.
Yeah.
So right in the heart of high school.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough.
Okay.
So that's one thing that transferred well, into my adult life, being able to adapt.
Right. Kind of just plopped in and just like, hey, make it work or
make it work.
Whatever. Yeah. All right. Awesome. So if you had to pick to go back one spot, would you go Vegas or Virginia?
Probably Virginia.
Yeah. Really?
Probably Virginia.
After all that.
It's definitely more family oriented.
Okay. Right. Now
Vegas isn't the best place to raise a family.
I was gonna say family oriented. Yeah. You just recently got engaged. So congratulations to that. Yeah.
Thank
absolutely.
You. To the love of my life, Valencia. Shout out to her. But yes, we got engaged. I want to say about 3 weeks ago.
Right.
So things are moving kind of quick.
Are you still riding that high a little bit?
Still riding that high.
Good.
I'm
awesome.
loving it. It's like the honeymoon before the honeymoon phase.
Yeah, I love that. Have we set a date, anything like that yet?
We do have a date set. We're looking at October 7th of next year.
Nice. All right. So we're just outside of a year now.
Just outside of a year. We've already locked in a venue over at the Crystal Ballroom. Shout out to Crystal Ballroom.
Wow, you guys have been doing mad work in those 3 weeks.
Yeah. We got taking a photo shoot next week. So
yeah. Awesome. Congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
So now walk us into you getting here and real estate. Let's kind of like unpack how we got here. Yeah. So what brought you to Jacksonville? Military still or?
So no, I was in property management for about 10 years. Was it transferred? Well, it's like the cousin of real estate.
For sure, yeah.
I did that. Was breaking all kind of records with the company I was with. Doing on average about 20 homes, 20 apartments a month. So from there, they offered me a pretty high position to start traveling and training a lot of their other
rock
properties.
And roll.
Yeah, so I did that for about 3 years. I traveled from there. I left Virginia and came down to Jacksonville, actually.
Okay.
I was here for about 2 months, and then they were like, hey, we need you to go to Alabama. So they shipped me to Alabama for like a year. Then they sent me over to Atlanta for 6 months. Then I was back in Mississippi.
Damn, so you've seen it. You've been around a little bit.
I've been around. So they what they were basically having me do was go to these different properties and train them on the way that things should be sold or leased in the apartment field. And then once things kind of settled out, they were like, hey, so where do you want to live actually? I said, I actually like Florida. Florida was a pretty nice place. So they sent me back here, and I was the regional support manager, so I still oversaw all of those properties from there. And then once they sold, they offered me a job in Savannah, but we had just recently bought a house. Wasn't the time.
What year was that at?
That was
ballpark.
I want to say at the beginning of this year, actually.
Okay, so it wasn't even. It was like COVID.
Yeah.
It wasn't BC. It wasn't before COVID.
It wasn't BC.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It wasn't BC. I got my real estate license during that whole time. I took advantage of kind of the slow period, and
they didn't require you to be licensed. You were just like, I'm gonna get licensed.
Just gonna get licensed.
Cool. Okay.
Something I always wanted to get into, and everything just lined up perfectly. Where they were offering me a job in Savannah, I couldn't move. Now was the perfect time to jump.
All right. I'm like, okay, so then what did you kind of do? Did you start interviewing brokerages? Did you just like go online? You're just like, who's the best? How did you find DJ&Lindsey?
That's good question. I just did my own research. Olivia was on top of it. I mean,
shout out Olivia. Also just had a baby. Congrats.
Yeah, congratulations on the baby. But yeah, she was on top of it. She was really the only one that really like walked through the entire step of, hey, where you at with your license? Have you gotten licensed yet? Where a lot of the other brokerages really didn't care. They were like, hey, call us when you get it kind of thing. So, I really felt that connection to DJ&Lindsey Real Estate from how she catered to me before I even came here.
Right.
Which really had a lot of say in where I went.
Right.
I was looking for this kind of culture where everything is more family oriented. Everybody lifts everybody up.
Right. She was talking to you as a person. She wasn't talking to you as just another licensed agent that's like, I need you on the brokerage.
Exactly. Sending me material to study. I mean, she was great.
Yeah, we're definitely big on that. We're always trying to, because that's obviously our model is just trying to show people, hey, this is what your life could be like if you just work hard, right?
Absolutely.
We just only know real estate. That's what we stay in. We don't also have food stores. We don't, it's just like, hey, it's, it's real estate. So that's great to hear. I mean, obviously we know Olivia well, but that's great to hear that you just, from a completely cold, blind connection, where like I instantly felt like she was taking care of me.
Yep. And ever since then, it's been that all the way through. It's not just at the forefront, but even today, everyone still lifts everyone up, in a way that makes everyone better. So it really is that kind of culture here to where, everyone has the ability to be successful for sure.
Right. So now let's start. You start here. You drink from the fire hose. Training is like slam packed, whatever. When, because you said you kind of turn this corner, could you put your finger on one thing that you're like, this is why I'm better than I was, 3, 4, or 5 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think it was the ability to connect what I do well, which transferred in my career before this is the ability to connect with people, and once I got the idea that, you're not just trying to get people to buy a house, you're actually trying to build a relationship with these people, which is, one of the things that I do so well. And once that clicked for me, I mean, it
was easy.
Contracts, contracts started rolling in.
Well, and it's definitely easy because back to even property management, you were always concerned about the physical property, which you can worry about the property and the clients because we have the transaction coordinators on the other side of this wall that are going to handle the business side of it for you.
And they're the best at it. They really make it easy for you to kind of do the things you need to do outside of that in the field, and really make sure that your transactions are really taken care of for sure.
Right. The clique you sit with, which we mentioned earlier, awesome clique. Obviously, awesome Jamie clique. Bradley, Casey's over there, who was a runner-up on the Best in Biz competition. You had a pretty good run too.
Yeah, it was all right.
But do you feel like you're kind of picking up like little nuggets from them, just hearing them on the phone? Like, what could you put your finger on something specific that you're like, oh, I heard this from Jamie, or I heard this from Bradley. Like, I heard him on the phone, or I did this, or he told me this. Like, because that's what I'm always trying to find out. I'm like, because we kind of see this pattern, right? Where, like, people fall in line when they kind of start surrounding themselves. And, like, I don't want to say buy in, because truth be told, I, like, hate that. I'm like, buy in. I'm like,
buy into what?
Right. I'm like, but buy in is to when they buy into, like, making sure they're here all the time, doing all the things we ask them to do. And then I think the big buy-in is sitting with people who are also doing those things.
Exactly.
Which is kind of the nature of the whole office, but everyone's in their own different part of their life. So like you're riding the high right now of you getting engaged. Somebody 3 seats away from you could be in a different point in their life.
Exactly.
And it's not so much that, hey, you're sucking me dry with your terrible energy. It's just like hey, maybe they need you there for them to like also ride the high that you're giving that energy out. Because I'm always, like I said, I love the fact that because Brett tries to do that, and that's why we even had the Best in Biz, so you can kind of like hear everybody's pitch and tone. And
which was awesome, by the way.
Yeah, how they go about their business on the phone, but it's even harder and more awkward because you're standing in front of a jury of your peers.
A bunch of people, yeah.
Yeah, so it's obviously it's easier to walk around, pace on the phone, etc. So before we tried to get you on, but we had the Best in Biz battle, and then you were away in Chicago, which was a little bit of a hatched plan that unfolded differently.
Right, yeah, unfolded a little different there.
So, but at that time, you were on a real hot streak. I mean, I thought maybe 8 or 9 pending was like hanging in the balance.
8 or 9 pending at the time. Had one execute, a deal closed before I went on vacation. Had one execute the day I got back. So, I mean, it was flowing.
So technically, it's not vacation because it's not vacation unless you execute at least one contract. So they can't hold that against you.
Can't hold it against
you. You were away, but you weren't on vacation.
Exactly.
That's Brittany's rule: is you have to execute at least one contract if you're on vacation.
It's a good rule to have. For sure.
or else are you really on vacation?
Yeah. What are you doing? Yeah.
Exactly. So where are we at now? Where was our goal of like, okay, this is my first year goal. I want to sell 20, 25, 30, whatever it was, and then kind of are we on pace for that? Talk us through that.
Yeah. So I am I'm very hard on myself. So my goal actually is to sell at least 44 more homes this year. Yeah, which is insane. So right now, I actually just executed another one today. So shout out to the team for helping me along with that.
That's awesome.
But yeah, the goal for me is really just to be able to lead my family into a better way of life. So right now we're doing great. You know. It's been a blessing thus far to not want or need for anything.
That's awesome.
But the goal is really to be able to be financially free of everything and to have at least, we call them doors, have at least another door for investment opportunities by the end of the year for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, is your fiance, is she real estate related at all, or what does she do for a profession?
No. We actually met in property management. I actually hired her.
So she understands the stress. She understands the value. She understands all of the
She is the best teammate to have for
That's
sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but
That's
she
spectacular.
is also a business owner. So she runs a school. Shout out to Growing Tree. She runs a school that has been doing, exceptional. She's always packed.
Awesome.
She's great with children. That's really her gift for sure.
That's awesome. Who could you ask for better?
Couldn't ask for a better
teammate.
Yeah,
exactly. Awesome. So 44 more homes or 44 total homes is what you want to hit?
44 more.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
my
what's
goal
the grand
was
total?
50 for the year.
Okay.
So as of right now, I've closed on 6 so far. And I have another one closing on Friday. So 44 total more before the end of the year.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Are we how do we think, like, is our pace picking up? Are we feeling the shift in the market too? Talk us a little bit through that.
Absolutely. We've definitely had to pivot. Things in real estate change day to day. So you're seeing a pivot now where things aren't as hectic and chaotic, where there's not 50 offers on a home anymore, but where those relationships kick in a little better now, which is where I thrive. So I think the people who can build on those relationships and really get their people to trust them are still going to have a really successful year for sure.
Awesome. How hard are you kind of leading on leadership to make sure that your tools are as sharp as possible going into that way? Every day?
Every day. Yeah, they'll tell you. I'm on the phone with someone at least every day asking questions. I stop Travis every morning and have at least 5 questions for him before we get started. So I really depend on them because they know what they're talking about. They can answer questions that you may not have for a client, and they 10 times out of 10, they already know the answer to it. So I use that. I think it's smart not to think you're the smartest person in the room.
For sure.
So I really lean on them for the experience that they have because they've already experienced a lot of what we're already going through.
Definitely. I mean, we say it all the time, like nobody has done more deals than Travis.
Yeah.
I mean, Travis has seen more paperwork than probably anybody in history.
Shout out to Travis. He's the heart of the team here. He really holds us down for sure.
Yeah, he tries. Super humble. We've had him on the podcast. But yeah, he started, what did we say? It was like literally 2 or 3 months after me, and he was like the lone transaction coordinator.
Wow.
Like it was just Travis.
Yeah. He
and
can handle it for sure.
Which he can, but it was just crazy that's how it started, and then almost every transaction ran through him, whether it still started with someone else and then came still back through Travis. And now, I mean, is in the leadership role, which again, like, you have no problem turning around. Hey, Travis, need help on this.
He's always there.
Yeah,
he's always there. That's
you can always count on him. But obviously, Brett, Brittany, super accessible too.
Absolutely. Brett and Brittany are two other people who are doing great and have a lot to do with the success I have. For sure, they kind of let me know where to go, which road to take down and where I should go kind of with the client and really kind of help you, because it can be an up and down world in real estate, So when you feel like you're hitting that dry spot, me and Brett have gone to lunch quite a few times, and that's a good time to share what you may be going through.
Right.
And usually, I kid you not, every time after we've had a lunch and there may be whatever rut or whatever rut I think I may be going to, something happens the very next day. So if we can go to lunch every day, Brett, let's do that. Maybe we can execute, every day from there for sure.
Right.
But I really lean on the leadership that they have, because they offer so much to us that, we don't have necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, we hear that a lot, is people are shocked that when they come into office, they see Brittany, Brett, they see, they get to talk to their broker, which is sometimes few and far between depending where you go. And then now I feel like because of this shift in the market, when we keep getting these newbies coming in, they're really shocked, because now is a time where a lot of those people are kind of just like taking vacations. Like, oh, the market's cool. Like, if the business comes, it comes to me for my relationships, past relationships. So a lot of people are kind of like coasting now, just kind of like, I don't want to spend too much here or there. I'm just kind of worried about me. Whereas obviously very the opposite.
The opposite.
Yeah, very bullish, very, hey, how can I help you? Hey, this is what I think is going to be in your best interest.
Yeah. Let them know. Lead them in the right direction.
Right.
Yeah.
So going back to like when I think I'm in a rut, do you kind of know of things that you're like, hey, I really need to work on this better? How you said you hit this certain point where it clicked, where you're like, okay, this is where I have the confidence. I know what I'm really good at. Do you only yield to the things or lean towards the things you're really good at, or do you also try and work on those other things? You're like, I really got to get better at this.
I think being a more rounded person is what you'll need to be successful in real estate, and the ability to adapt and when the market changes is where a lot of success comes throughout the year. So those ruts, when I feel like I do get in those ruts, I just do more of the things that I think I should be doing. Calling more people, making more connections, going on more tours, instead of doing the total opposite of what most people would do.
Sure.
Instead, shut down.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a break. It's not working. Do more of that.
Right. But do you find sometimes too, like kind of when you went to Chicago, did you kind of feel like recharged when you came back, or were you hungry when you came back?
I was hungry.
Yeah.
I was hungry for sure. There's a addictive kind of thing that goes along with executing a contract.
Right.
And when you execute one, you want to do another one. It's like getting tattoos.
Yeah.
I've heard that. Once you do the first one, it's a wild ride. Your first time you ever do a contract, and the ups and downs of things you have no idea. They say don't count it closed until it actually closes.
And you got your heart in it too.
Exactly.
And you're like,
exactly. Yeah. So that first ride, and when it actually closes, it's like, phew, that happened. You know? So then you want to do it again and do it again and do it again, and see if you can get better at it until you can really do them perfect to where there's no issues throughout. And it's unrealistic to think that you won't have issues, but to be able to handle those issues in a way that your clients can still feel smooth and comfortable with you.
From a professional, because we call them something else, but I just like to call them concerns, are you hearing a shift in concerns from buyers and sellers with the market shift? We sometimes call them objections, but I'm saying, like, do you kind of hear new concerns, or it's kind of always the same concerns you hear all the time? It's just a matter of like bridging the educational gap between them and what they think they know to what you need to actually teach them.
Most people just need to be educated. They probably heard from a friend of a friend that now is not the time to buy. But one of the cool things that we do is we're educated daily. There's always something that we learn that we can help with our calls to share that information with the clients that may give them a change of heart, where they do feel a little bit more comfortable about signing their name on a contract where, a week ago they may not have been. Sharing videos that, we've seen that clearly tell just straight numbers,
right,
and not someone's opinion of what the market's doing, but
right.
I want to give you straight facts,
right,
and then from there you make a decision if it's the best time for you to buy or if it's not.
Right. Sorry, I just hit my my spring over here. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big concern, and we always like to just say, hey, here's the material to make a decision yourself. I'm not trying to persuade you one way or another.
Yeah.
If you ask my opinion, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to rush you into a home saying, this is the house, you need to buy this house right now. If you're telling me I need a house, my kid needs to start school, I'm like, then you need to buy this house.
Exactly.
That's the concern.
Exactly.
I'm not going to be like, well, another one will come, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot you straight. But I think that's a big concern where people are like, well, that's just in your opinion. And then you go and you can find, I say this all the time, with Facebook and social media now, you can find a group of people that are going to agree with you on whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is.
And I'm not a political person, but I'm like, you literally could find a group of people that agrees with the most insane, whatever.
We live in a wild world.
And people are like, yup, it's totally true. And you're like, somebody else can read that and like, dude, do you realize how insane this is? Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to real estate and buying such a huge asset is having as much information for you to feel good about the decision you make. And I think
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut
No,
you
you're
off.
fine. But I think that is the biggest thing that Brett, Brittany, our just general motto to just like run true throughout everybody who comes through here. And you can see it in the agents too.
You really can.
Yeah. You guys are all hungry. Yeah. But
for sure.
at the same time, you're real people. And
real people.
Yeah. That's what kind of like.
We're all competitive. That's for sure. That's really what I like about the group that I sit with. I think that's why you see a lot of the success there, because we're all competitive driven, but it's a healthy competition. It's not like
you're not wishing bad upon them.
Exactly. I want them to do good,
right.
And the same for me. They want me to do well. So it's if I have a question about something, I can go to these guys and say, hey man, what would you do in this situation?
Right.
And these are the best guys to ask. They've executed more deals.
Yeah. I mean, you got
Bradley,
who's got like 20 pending. Jamie is always at the top. He just got the Q2.
Q3?
Yeah, Q3, Q2. Yeah. We're in Q3 now. He got the Q2 game ball.
Got the Q2.
Which is awesome. Obviously, he's been huge, stepping up, just helping people.
Well deserved.
Just spending more time here. Yeah. So it's awesome that you sit in that clique, because you're also one of those people outside of, when you're not around, people speak that same way about you. They're like, Markus is great. That's why I said we tried to have you on the podcast. Little trip, some planning happening, but we're glad to have you back.
Glad to be here.
We're working towards 50 homes. Got a little bit more to go. Anything else? Like, what do you kind of like to do outside of real estate? Like spend time with family, et cetera. Like
spend time with family. Really, just that family is probably the most important thing to me.
That's awesome.
So a lot of the free time I have goes to them. My parents will soon be moving down to Florida, which I'm very excited about. So
hey, congratulations!
Congratulations to them. So they'll be moving down here next year sometime. So just growing that family out. Now's the best time to do it, honestly.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I'm a foodie, man. I love to eat.
Yeah.
I love to eat. Try new restaurants. We try a new restaurant every week.
Okay. Do you have any like favorites right now where you're kind of like, if you weren't going to try one every week, you're just like, I could eat this, once a week, every single week?
Hawkers, for sure.
Hawkers
is my go-to, man. I love that Asian street food.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
That's awesome. So what's the closest one to you then?
Closest one to me is probably Riverside.
Okay.
Yeah, the Riverside one, which is a really dope scene. If anyone's never been there, it's a really nice area to kind of hang out, date night kind of thing. It's really nice.
Yeah, Riverside's gorgeous. 5 Points, that whole area. I've only ever been to the one in Atlantic Beach.
Okay.
But again, same thing. It's like the energy.
You're
an energy guy, I think.
Exactly.
You're an energy guy. So as soon as you walk in there and you get that energy, and then obviously the food being good helps too.
It helps a lot.
It is great. Well, hey, man, we absolutely love you. We can't wait to see where this goes. Congratulations again.
Glad to be here.
Recently
Thank you
engaged.
so much.
If your parents need a good realtor, tell them to use you.
I definitely will.
Follow Markus Brown, Markus Brown Realtor, and don't forget to follow us everywhere. Like, subscribe, DJ&Lindsey, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever you can find us, Spotify. And don't forget, this podcast is sponsored by Audible. Audible is a great way to listen to books instead of read them, because if you're driving to showings, it's kind of hard to read books.
Absolutely.
But we have a link in our description. It's just audible.com/DJ&Lindsey. It's like a free $15 or something. I don't really know. Ashley handles it. But I'll have Matt throw it in the description. Thanks a lot, guys. Marcus, appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Glad to be here.
See
Thanks,
ya.
guys.